In the middle of Wellington Zoo is a heavily quarantined building called The Nest.
We have cyber locks which restrict access to just the people that are deemed appropriate to come into this room.
So is it a digital lock?
It is, yeah, which is programmed by computer.
And inside a second quarantine door and across sticky strips across the walls and floor is Spider Dave's pride and joy. A room full of spiders, reptiles and lizards. But perhaps the most incredible, the Goliath Bird Eater Tarantula.
They are the largest species of tarantula in the world by both leg span and mass.
Dave Corks is the Wellington Zoo's Reptiles and Invertebrates team leader. This Goliath is called Cheryl. She is auntie to 8 babies. Mum Daenerys is resting around the corner. This breed has been known to eat possums, but regularly eats locusts and dead mice. Cheryl is about the size of my hand.
For the last 2 and a bit years, we've been working on breeding this species because, as far as we can tell, it's not been done in the last 20 or so years, and it's certainly never been done in Australasia. So, you know, that part of it's extremely exciting. So we've been experimenting with wild recreation, environmental manipulation in order to trigger breeding behaviours in these spiders. And then it's basically been a case of trial and error with seeing who likes who and who's willing to produce an egg sac for us.
And in this case, it seems to have worked, and the results are over there. Shall we go have a look? Absolutely. So what have we got here?
So here we have number 1 to 8 are baby Goliath bird eating tarantulas.
Inside 8 soil-filled jam jar-like containers are Daenerys' babies, barely the size of a 50-cent coin. They are about 2.5 months old.
It's incredible how small they are in relation to how big they could potentially get.
Absolutely. So these guys will go through a dramatic change throughout their lives, and they'll end up being wildly larger than they are currently. And each successive molt they have, they can potentially double in size.
Dave's face beams when he talks about these spiders. Breeding them has been intense and time-consuming.
We'd keep an eye on one of our males, and when we notice him wandering, which is a behaviour they do when they're actively seeking females, we would open him up, gradually treadmill him into the introduction space.
So quite literally like this?
Yeah, one hand to the other as he's wandering. Yep. I found that this is the best way to do it in order to not disturb or aggravate the male, because if you were to catch him in a large tub, he becomes slightly aggravated, and it almost takes him out of the moment.
The male then approaches the female.
Normally, the moment the male hits a strand of her silk, he picks up on her pheromones, and he'll stop dead. And then from that point, he'll begin drumming the ground like boom, boom, boom. And she'll normally sit there. She may react, she may not react. If she doesn't react, he'll creep a little closer, and again, boom, boom, boom. If she's receptive, she'll often drum back. Same rhythm, boom, boom, boom. And they'll gradually sort of size each other up, move into space with continued tapping, and then they'll come together. He'll continue drumming on her legs and stroking her legs and basically communicating with her the whole time as to what's going on, what his intentions are, and then from there he'll use his 2 specialised front legs to lift her high up into the air. So he basically bench presses her up into the air to gain access to her epigastric furrow.
He then does the deed. Dave will closely monitor how the new Goliaths go and release the data publicly. No one knows how endangered they might be, which Dave says makes these breeding programs so important. A big part of this, though, is education.
One of the things I constantly come up against in my line of work is the demonisation of spiders, but also ectotherms in general. And the one thing I'd really implore people to do is stop seeing them as stop seeing it as a spider, stop seeing it as a scorpion, stop seeing it as a snake. See it as an animal. And once you see it as an animal, you're able to understand their beauty, you're able to understand what makes them so special.
For Checkpoint, Logan Church.